which is a personal favourite of all who have heard it, and it's also the most successful. It's a little number simply called the Vagina Song, which also has a bit of the old Squirty humour in it, which is the first time you've actually brought humour into your music. Like, before we get into the song, did you sit down and say, I want to write a funny song, or did it just sort of come out like that?
Well, it wasn't actually me that wrote the song. So a rigger friend of mine, I mentioned him before, Ren Turner, he approached me and said he's got this guitar riff, and I went, oh yeah, cool, no worries. So I got my little Blue Yeti microphone, we went to the music room and I recorded his riff. And
on what? Like, it's not in your studio?
On an acoustic guitar.
How did you record it? Like on your phone or like?
No, on a microphone.
Okay, so
from a computer. Yeah. And that room is probably more horrible than the room that I built. But anyway, and he was like me, He'd do the riff, and then he went through one whole section, and then he went, oh, all right, I'll start back here again. And I've gone, no, that's enough. Cool. So that one whole progression of cut and paste, chopped it up and built this song. Now, the rest of the song was recorded in my room on Curtis Island when I was away. It gave me something to do there, gave me something to focus on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wrote riffs and tried to prepare song structures, ideas for when I got back to my room I could record them properly. Didn't always end up that way, but this particular song, like as soon as I heard the riff, even when I was recording it, when he was playing it, all I could think about, like these lyrics just came into my head.
So the riff came first and then you wrote the lyrics? You didn't have the lyrics, then write a song to it?
No, the riff came first. I had the lyrics, and then from that riff, that one section, I built the whole song.
And tell us it's pretty self-explanatory, but tell us what it's about.
Okay, so the song's called The Vagina Song. Now, who doesn't like vagina? Honestly, even if you say you don't like it,
You're
do.
A liar.
So, and you know what? It's a very clever written little song. It's not derogative and it's not, crude or anything like that. It's just have a listen to it, make up your own mind. But it's a very good little song. So I needed a solo. So this Maori fella by the name of Dennis, he at this stage I was pretty heavily involved in the music room or the music committee on Curtis Island, and it was pretty much run by the Maoris, and there was this, we'd be in there jamming and there'd be this young fella up the back with his guitar just noodling away. So I went and sat up near him so I could hear him a bit better. And this guy could play guitar, mate, a lot better than the guitarists that they had. But because he was young, oh no, you don't get to be heard.
Yeah.
These guys have been playing for years, even though they were shit, Yeah, okay, they were shit, right? Dennis needed to be, I don't know your culture, I don't know, but I believe in, hey, this guy's really good and he's young, so how about we,
Talent is everything.
Yeah. So anyway, I asked him, I said, man, I need this solo for one of my songs. So we came around one night, we had a few beers, I just put it on loop. Loop is when it just, it plays a section and then it goes back to the start, play, and just keeps playing it. And loop record is when, as it's playing through, he can record his little solo bit, right? Yep. And then it'll go back to the start, and it'll all be in layers, So Yeah, I just gave him like 15 minutes and he's just noodling away. And some of the stuff this guy was doing is like really, really good, you know. Yeah, so he done the solo. Ren was the one that come up with the riff. I put everything else to it. And it's probably been my most successful song to date.
And when you say successful, like I said, it run about 2 years at number one.
Yeah, so number one music site, yeah, it sat there for 2 years. And not the last time I looked, but one of the times that I did look when it was at its height, you know, it was getting over, you know, 300, 350 plays a day, you know. So people were liking it.
Did you make a film clip for it? That's the question.
I have an idea. I have an idea. Yes, but
it was successful enough that I believe it spawned a sequel.
Yeah, so there is a Vagina Song Part 2, and I think that's on Green P.
Right, yeah.
And I do have another guest vocalist.
Beautiful. We'll keep people in suspense until that.
Yeah. So,
cool. Yeah. Well, that wraps up the collection of songs, but I think the one thing I took out of listening to all those songs from the first batch was that there was more layers, not more layers, there's more backing vocals. You know, done by yourself, and there's a lot more layered backing vocals. Like, was that a focus of that period you worked on that sort of thing, or was it just?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think, even though I hadn't treated that room, I think I knew that room well enough to be able to put multi-vocal tracking without causing any frequency imbalance, especially in the mid-range area. Yeah, so that was a huge test, you know. So yeah, I wanted to see how low I could go, and then the harmony after that, the harmony after that, harmony after that, and yeah, I just wanted to build as much as I could. Didn't always work, and you know, you still got to apply it to the song somehow. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing the harmonies and the vocals at that stage. You know, being a backing singer in various original bands, you know, it's just my voice at the moment, and now I want to test my voice and see how far I can push it, you know. Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. I love doing that. Yeah, and it's the same thing, all the loop recordings. So I'd have the main vocal playing, and it would just play back, and I'd just keep singing and singing and singing until I thought I got it. And then I'd play it back and go, oh, it's still a bit off.
So overall, what would you say you learned about producing and recording music in that period that the RedP covers?
Well, I was learning. Well, at that stage, I was trying to build my own workflow. Something that worked for me, my go-tos, you know, I needed, like, okay, you need to record this now at this spot. Now you need to record this. Now you need to record that. Now it's time for that and time for that. But it didn't quite work for me because I'm so erratic at the moment, well, at that time, with my recordings. You know, like sometimes I'd have a bass run, and I'd get the bass down, and then I'd have to put the drums to the bass, you know. And other times I'd get the drums first and put the guitar down. And so that's not really a workflow, that's just stumbling through recording, you know. So at that point in time, I knew I needed some sort of structure, some sort of workflow, otherwise I'm just going to be chasing my tail, and I'm going to end up with 100 unfinished songs. Yeah, so And also, I had started exiting a lot of the plugins that I was trying to use. And what I mean by trying is, you put this plugin in, it could be an EQ, and you know it's supposed to do that, but it's not doing that for you. And it's like, well, why isn't it doing it, So rather than sit there for an hour and try and figure out why that's not working, I just got rid of it. Tried another EQ, and I kept going through the EQs until I found the ones that worked. Once again, you soon find out that some EQs don't work on certain applications of your song, and some do. But yeah, I was just trying to get my workflow, get my tool belt in order, and and that was a major step up from the learners for L plates. Because you'd see these videos and they say, oh, the more tools you got, the better choice you have, and and I was just like, oh God, that's just too many. So I need to get rid of the ones that I just don't think I need anymore, or the ones that I don't understand. I knew I started watching a lot more videos on tracking, how to track properly, what levels, and I think at that point in time, gain staging was something that I'd heard, and I've just gone, ooh, gain staging, what's that? Oh, all right, oh, okay.
So what's actually tracking like?
Oh, well, tracking's when you plug a bass or a guitar into the DAW and you record the track. That's tracking. And I've, not back in 2014, 15 when the RedPs were recorded, but most recently, I've started zeroing in on my producers that I listen to and I watch, the mixers, mixing engineers that I listen to and watch, and the mastering engineers that I listen to and watch. So there's a guy called Joe Gilder, PreSonus, Studio One. He mentions that, like, for the last 7 years, this is all I've heard. Get it right at the source. Get it right at the source. Get the tracking right. If the tracking's not right, then the mixing engineer hasn't got to spend hours on trying to get it right. And then what he's done, the mastering engineer doesn't have to spend hours on trying to get it right. Get it right at the source. Now, a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there are some people that, okay, there's a track that's not quite right. Add this plugin, add that plugin, add all these plugins to fix that one little thing, And then it goes to the mixing engineer, and the mixing engineer just goes, what the fuck was you thinking, Get it right at the source. So that's what I've been focusing on lately, which is, after this year's out and I get back into my writing again, that's what you're going to be seeing from me. And you will get polished songs, recorded well, mixed well, mastered well. Because it's all a big learning curve for me.
Well, that brings to a close our chapter on the RedPs. So next we've got coming up the green peas. So without giving too much away, roughly what's that going to cover?
Green peas. So that's going to cover maybe around the 2015, 2016 up to 2018 maybe. So once again, you'll probably hear a distinct difference in my recordings. Because I do believe I'm getting better as I go along. The songs are going to be closer to, I think, how I perceive myself as a songwriter. So actually there's some pretty good songs on the Green Peas. At this point in time, I think there's 4 that are complete, and I've just got to do vocals on 2 of them. So I know we're in 2021, and these songs were written way back then. But I will be singing them. I'm in a new room. I think it's a pretty good sounding room, so it'll be interesting to hear how the vocals sound with those 2 tracks against the other 4 tracks that were recorded. And I actually think Green Peas was recorded in my house in Woody Point. Yeah, so I pretty much had a bed as a vocal booth. So I single bed, I stood up, put the mattress against it, and I put all the pillows over the top with a blanket, and I put the microphone in there. And it actually sounded pretty good. I'm happy with the way the vocals are on Green Peas. So it'll be interesting to compare those 2 tracks. It'd be interesting to see if you could pick them.
Yeah, well, go tell me what they are when you play them through, and let me see if I can.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, thanks for your time again. Another entertaining and enlightening discussion.
Thank you, Krispy.
We'll see you in a month or so, and thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you, Heavy Magazine.
Thank you.
I've had them when they're fresh and new. Poor thing didn't know what to do. I've had them when they're old and used. Those ladies know just what to do. And I could just